So the other day you were told you had to shut your cameras down, right? Or your phones down. Couldn't take any pictures of these protesters?
Yeah, I was in a little group of reporters who were being held back by police, and we were told we couldn't. Not only could we not take photos, but we had to delete the photos that we had taken. Which the latter part was the more bizarre demand on us, because I actually didn't realize we were standing in a particular part of the Capitol building where you're not allowed to take pictures. And I actually, in that group, was not taking pictures. I was just trying to see the protesters and get a look at them. But there were some police there, Capitol Police, and then there was this one woman who was just on fire about people trying to get close to the protesters. And she was shouting over and over, "No pictures allowed, no pictures allowed, delete your photos, delete your photos." And I was like, what?
Where was she from? Capitol Police? Or
No, she wasn't in uniform. I think she might have been like a Senate sort of security type person. I think I've seen her manning one of the elevators where they help escort senators get on and off elevators. So I'm not positive on that, but I recognized her face. But it was the whole delete your photos thing that was really weird.
Well, it's only
and I think illegal. Like, I don't think, or at least unethical. I don't think you're allowed to tell anybody to delete photos.
Well, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago that, and I think we talked about this, where they said, you guys, you're not allowed to talk to these senators, you just roam around. You got to be, we're going to corral you like over here, like in a pen, like Donald Trump did during the campaign. And that didn't last long. Right?
That didn't last long either. It's been tense in there. I mean, aside from the whole delete your photos screaming from the woman in the Senate, there was another moment in the Senate that day where more protesters were shouting on the Senate floor. And so again, I got it from my seat and I went over to where I thought I could find them. Mm-hmm. And I saw them down at the end of one hall, and I started to walk toward them, and a Capitol Police officer got in my way and said, "You can't go down there." And I said, "Well, why not?" And she said, "Because it's closed." And this was a public open hallway that people, reporters every day walk up and down freely. We have credentials to be in the building. Mm-hmm. It's a public hall. It's a U.S. Capitol building. So I said, "What do you mean the hallway's closed?" And you can see down the hall, there's like a mob of protesters getting arrested. So I wanted to go get a look at them. And she's like, "You're not allowed down there." And I said, "Well, why not?" And she said, "You're not allowed down there." And I said, "Well, why not?" And we went like that, back and forth. And she was getting increasingly mad at me. And then that made me increasingly annoyed because there was no justification. And meanwhile, the protesters are getting...
Your credential,
I'm credentialed to be there. And I mean, as a reporter, I wanted to go and get a look at the people being arrested for protesting the Obamacare repeal bill. I mean, I want to see who these people are. And in the end, she wouldn't let me go down the hall. And then she actually got in my face and body checked me.
Whoa!
She physically pushed me back, which was completely unnecessary and really surprising. And I think I said, whoa, 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 back off. And then I walked away. But that was completely unnecessary. I mean, and she was wrong. I mean, she just made it up that, I couldn't go take a look at these people. And that's too bad because I want to see, and I'd like to, if I can't take a picture, fine, I can describe the people who are, have medical issues, who are in the Capitol, terrified of losing their health care, who came all the way up there to try to, raise awareness of how this is going to hurt them.
One of the things that surprised me, because I don't hang out at the Capitol the way you do, but I've been there many, many times. And the security there, particularly, I mean, it's just nonsense. It's like a police state, I believe. But knowing how tight it is, I was surprised that so many protesters were able to get into the Hart office building, for sure, and maybe some of the others too, and the United States Capitol itself, and even in the Senate gallery.
Well, it's these are public buildings. If you walk through the front door of the building and you don't have signs hanging all over you, or even if you did, I mean, they have to let you in. And for the people who got into the Senate chamber itself, I mean, I presume they were people who were just, regular looking people, tourists, wanting to see the Senate.
But some of them had white lab coats.
Well, it's possible they had them in a bag when they went in there.
Yeah.
I mean, and even if they didn't, I think you can't not let people in. It's the timing. They came there to come see the Senate deliberate. They walk through the metal detectors. They don't have any weapons. Why?
Yeah.
What justification would there be for not letting them
No,
watch?
I'm
the
not saying
Senate?
they should not have been allowed in. I was just surprised that they weren't maybe tougher than I thought they were going to be.
But there are people who talk about the whole state-run media and the way that the Trump administration is using its power to silence the media, and there are a lot of people who say like, "Oh, come on, we're not going to get as bad as North Korea or anything like that." But like, this is really bad, and this is fundamentally what we are as a nation, right? Like to have that type of access to our elected officials, they really are trying to limit it, and that. He's only been president for 6 months, 7 months.
I mean,
I'm not trying to like go super hyperbolic here and say that we're gonna have. But
I think you just compared us to North Korea.
I said we're going that direction. I think we're going that
I
direction.
mean,
If Trump had his way, and he could get away with it, he would absolutely.
In the defense of the Capitol Police, they're not acting on Trump's behest, and we are not allowed to take photos on the third floor, which I didn't know, and I've worked there for years, so that was news to me. And 95% of the time they're great. And it was literally like a handful, like one woman in my case who was kind of, went off the deep end with me. But
yeah.
And it is lame that they've tried to block the press from getting near the politicians recently. And I don't know why they did that.
No.
But they've made some missteps. But all in all, I think they've been good.
But yeah, and I think your point too is this is the Capitol Police. This is not Donald Trump.
No, this is totally separate. And to be fair to them, too, it's gotten so crazy in the Capitol lately. There's been so many new reporters who I've never seen before. It's like increased fivefold in the number of people in there. That there's people who are going to get trampled trying to, follow a senator. I mean, a senator could trip. Imagine if a senator tripped and fell because of a reporter.
Happen.
I mean, that's
going to happen.
Yeah. So you got to balance a little bit of safety here.